Record. Welcome, beloved, to this edition of Here, Oh Yah. Is I is or is I ain't? Your brother, Gidon Ben Yashara. Where's all the children at? Hurry up and get them children. Where's Big Mama? Where's Pawpaw? Go out into the highways and the byways and bring all the kinfolk around the television set. Why? Because we have a special. That's right, we have a special program designed specifically with you in mind. But of course, the views and opinions expressed are those of me, a po-colored country boy, cotton picker, by way of Israel, and the panelists that Yah has set, but not those of Comcast, their management, advertisers, or affiliates. Today's program, oh yes, there is a mature verbiage alert. Probably won't be in effect unless I do, but you know the realist ain't up in here, so we had to definitely warn y'all where he is in full effect. But today's program title is Elevate Your Mind. Elevate your mind. We're going to be talking about reverse mortgaging. We're going to be talking about the killing of our sons. We're going to be talking about a whole lot of stuff. But we want you to first elevate your mind so that you can understand what it is that we're relating to. You know, it's so much going on in this country and in our world, specifically melanated, woolly-haired individuals. And it makes me reflect on the story that I brought to you a time back about chicken. You know, one of the main things that we as colored folk, we love some chicken. Fried chicken, baked chicken. I got some chicken at home being baked right now. But what we found out through Dr. F. Keith Slaughter, you know, from 7 to 10, WAOK 1380, is that the chicken, 70% of it in this country is being laced with what? Arsenic. That's right. They are lacing the chicken with arsenic. Why is that? Well, it keeps the chicken, the dead chicken, looking more colorful, keeps it fatter looking, while it's killing the people that's eating it. How is it that the manufacturers would be so demonic and so insidious that they would use a poison that just to make the chicken look good on the outside, and yet it has very detrimental effects on the people who are ingesting it?
Commercial and greed.
That's commercialism and greed.
Yeah,
this is what capitalism breeds, is the greed that would make them use these toxic, and not only to mention the hormones and the antibiotics and the effects that they have, and on top of all that right there, the icing on the cake is arsenic. It is a most insidious plan. But when we say that, what we have to do is look at the extermination of woolly-haired melanated men all over the planet. It is a plan that is being placed in full effect right in our face, on no matter whether, you know, they're talking about putting the cameras on police officers. Well, Michael Brown up there in New York, well, what's his name? We've got Eric Garner in New York.
And go back further than that. You know the guy in California back in the 90s?
Yes, sir. That was Rodney King.
I mean, it can't get no clearer than that.
Right. Started
it like a pack of animals on that man.
On that man, like a wild dogs that they are. It started the video revolution, however, that today it's become commonplace because everybody's outfitted with these phone cams, and we've been catching their killer tactics up front. No need for the police to wear the cameras that they can utilize and turn on and cover up and do various techniques to make sure they obscure their very killer-like instincts. But Eric Gardner, we saw them choke him to death. And guess what? They got off scot-free. Then we had Michael Brown and the incidents where the eyewitness accounts showed and told that this man was unarmed. Go on, what were you about to say? Tamir Rice, where the 12-year-old had the gun, play gun. Yes, sir.
In the city said that the child was responsible for his own death.
For his own death.
His
and
actions
caused his death. That I grew up with pellet rifles. How many of us that sat at this table played with them? Where else are you going? You can't play with them in the house. You understand? And here these killers come up and shoot 2 seconds.
2 seconds. 1.7 to be exact.
Exactly. 1.7 seconds, and they shoot this 12-year-old down, because they definitely wouldn't have shot a dog, because we got to stop saying like a dog, because they have put us, the dog definitely is above us, and shot him down. Now, white boy comes out, AK-47, walking around, and he says that he was expressing his Second Amendment rights.
Right.
And what do? Leave him alone. Even with the president in town, the white boy was walking around with an M16 or one assault rifle, and he said he was expressing his Second Amendment rights. What did they do? They left him alone. Now, Rat Chip, the studio is in Chamblee, Georgia. You know, I got arrested right in the parking lot out here for having a flat tire. You understand? And in Chamblee, Mr. Hall, I don't recall his first name right now, beautiful looking young man, ex-Air Force. I was in the Air Force. Of course, as many of you know, I consciously objected, however. But this brother went through his Air Force time, got out, and was damaged, like many of the veterans are.
PTSD.
From PTSD. He was out there howling. He was naked. He was demonstrating his dementia. And what did the white boy think to do? Rather than rendering aid, gun him down.
You're talking about Anthony Hill a few weeks ago.
Anthony Hill.
No, this was last week.
Yeah.
In Chamblee.
In Chamblee, exactly.
Oh, so it was one in
It was in Chamblee.
Yeah, this week, the 28-year-old.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm talking about Anthony Hill in Columbus.
He was naked.
In Columbus. No, see, this brother was naked
in Chamblee.
in Chamblee and was shot. We got so many.
Right, it's so many
It's so
that
many of
we losing
them.
count.
Right.
Then you just, we just losing count. Of course, Mr. Moore on Metropolitan, police in a, speeding, cruising.
They say he was running almost 70 miles per hour.
70 miles an hour on Metropolitan. And many of you who are from the city know that, and of course, if you're watching this program, you have to be until it gets put on the internet by those of you. And thank you for doing that. I can't afford to do it, but guess what? You're doing it. You're putting it all over the world.
That's right.
Along with Black Sun, and many of you are putting this program on the internet because you see value in what we are doing. This man, beautiful brother, Mr. Moore, living in a business, not because, and so many of brothers have relegated their lives to subservience because we are servant. I am your servant, the servant of Yah. But because of the system is at us, many times our wives are at us because of money. And what do? We do what we can to survive. So this man was on Metropolitan, and he was trying to walk across the street. He was watching, and next thing you know, this police officer came through and hit this brother and propelled him to death, killed him. So we have case after case after case. That's why the Spirit moved me to, even though we're going to be talking about reverse mortgages and some of these other things, also, lastly, the issue of spring. Spring brings in so many aspects and components of our life. What it does, unfortunately for our women, because they're following white women rather than the mothers that come out of Africa in their dress, it puts many of us, men, because we're driven by a lower self for the most part because of the rap music and everything, they come out almost half naked, and many of you get caught in that trap.
Yes.
The trap that they are setting by the way they dress and the things that they're doing that put us in a mode that our lower self is being promoted rather than our higher self. So the Spirit moved me to entitle this program, Elevate Your Mind. For the daughters that are out there that are not using that power, because it is a power.
It is a power.
It is a powerful, it ain't a spiritual power, it's a sensual, earthly power that many of you subjugate yourselves to use that power to get attention. And because there are few men left in these houses, over 70% of our households headed by women, mama doing it, grandmama doing it, so therefore the female uses this tactic to get attention. Where if the mama would just have kept father in the house, there would be a change, and he can help to elevate her mind, that she doesn't have to relegate herself to that style of dress, because many of the men have used this, and they are literally prostituting their daughters by allowing them to come. Right now we have a 16-year-old girl that's missing, taken off the streets of Atlanta. She was supposed to be waiting for her her mother to come pick her up. Her mother hadn't seen her. She wasn't at work. Young ladies, please walk in packs. And when I say packs, maybe that term, walk with numbers. Don't go out there by yourself. We have dogs out there, two-legged dogs, and they're driven by their lower mind.
Yes,
and they will, just like the white folks did, came and got us from our home, took us, stole us away. Well, that's the repetitive thing that's going on in this country. Please don't let your daughters go out by themselves. And really, you've got to watch your sons too.
That's right.
I mean, because these demented homo thugs out there, out there stealing, and taking everything they can, because this is what they see from white supremacy. This is what they're about. Now, I want to, before I get to this panel, I want to share with you just a little as it pertains to the word of Yah, because we're coming into the spring, again, new life. For us, it is the beginning of a new year. And many discussions in the Hebrew community has to do with the new year, because many people use the farmer's almanac to determine when the new year is, rather than the Abib. But if they read the scriptures, it says the beginning of your year shall begin with the Abib. They take that to mean the first month, equating it to Nisan. Nisan is a Hebraic term that means one. In the Hebrew calendar, it was the numbers. They were not given names, they were given numbers. So Abib means the burgeoning new life in the barley and the corn. And when that new life in Jerusalem, not here in America, because for us, everything happens to reflect upon where Yah chose to place his name, not where your preacher is. Speaking of preachers, wait a minute. Did y'all hear about your boy?
Creflo Dollar.
Clip your dollar, baby.
Man,
on the news this morning.
$65 million for
a
a brand new
G5 or G whatever.
G650
Yes, sir.
luxury jet.
And you know what he say? So we can spread the word.
So
we
we
can
can,
spread
like
the
it ain't
gospel.
already been spread.
Man.
You know, and guess what? They gonna give it to him. Because these preachers have the people under this God spell that the God is the money, and that spell is the spirit of the strong delusion, and that they would believe that lie. And many of the Hebraic and other community leaders, that's jealousy. They say, well, if they can do that, y'all should be giving me. And one of my brother called in, Brother Dooley, Mark Johnson's brother, my beloved, he called in the program and said, you know, all these people going to hell because they can't even talk to their God themselves. They got to have a preacher talk to them for them.
A conduit, a middleman.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
And the Most High said, you address me through prayer. Each one of us have the power, because the temple is the body. And let me just go into John. I mean, that clip your dollar, boy. Woo, he get ready to clip some big dollars, ain't he? You know what I mean?
65 million, that's not even including the upkeep of the plane and the fuel price.
Exactly.
Okay.
You
That's base price, 65 million, bro.
and his preachers think, I mean, his people think, well,
His
yeah, we
sheeple.
need to ship him
His
out
sheeple.
there. The sheeple.
His sheeple.
Exactly. I'm going to pick it up in John chapter 1. And I'm going to read a few verses here to give you an understanding and insight what the Most High said from the beginning. It said, in the beginning the Word was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word was a power, was Elohim. And the same was in the beginning with Yah. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, not your preacher. And the light shineth into what? Darkness. And the darkness comprehended it not. And there was a man sent from Yah, whose name was John. The same came for a witness to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light, that there was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came into his own, and his own received him not. Well, what's the preacher doing being received and getting all this money if the true light was not received by the world? Briefly, but as many as received him, to them he gave power to become the sons of Elohim, even to them that believed on his name. You know, just a little something to try to straighten things out from what your preacher told you. But oh yeah, you don't listen. You just listen to your preacher. You don't read the book yourself.
You don't read.
To my right, in this powerful panel, many of you have seen him. You know who he is. It's been a minute since he's been on, but he's been advocating for you for the entirety of the time that I have known him. His name is Kareem Latif. Peace and blessings to you, my brother.
You and the brothers to my right.
Absolutely. And to his right, you know who he is. He is actor, researcher, community activist. He got cheeks. His name is Vince Cheeks. All right.
Glad to be
Welcome
here, glad to be
again
here,
to the Hero Yah set. And to his right, you know who he is. His name reflects a time of day, but not a state of mind. Assalamu alaikum, Elder Sunday.
In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. In his blessed name, I greet you in the words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum, shalom alaikum, peace and blessing.
Yes, sir. You know, Brother Latif, we're going to come to you first. Because in elevating our mind, this issue of the mortgage coming from a term that relates to death is something that many of us have been caught. I've been caught up in it. You know, I was in the house for over 25 years, and because we began to investigate what these banks, these robber barons have been doing, you know, with the robo-signing and the bankers, you know, they only got one that did, they got him for doing 12 years. They're starting to investigate. They're starting to find out that people that were put out of their homes, like I was, wrongfully, my brother's mother, that they're getting some recourse, but many of us haven't gotten that information in time. This issue of reverse mortgaging, what's been happening in the mortgage industry, give us an update so our people can begin to fight against the powers that be. Fight the power.
Fight the powers that be.
Well, you know, it's been a tumultuous 7 to 8 years.
Yes, sir.
Unprecedented in our history that we've seen people lose their homes,
Yes.
families torn apart,
Yes.
and the loss of wealth.
Yes.
And this started right before Obama was placed in office, okay? I have been one of his strongest critics
Yes, sir.
because I've always felt that he could have done more.
Mm-hmm.
But let's give him some kudos because he did put together the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau.
Okay.
He did put together some things on the consumer side that would have a long-standing play in the future.
Now, let me say this briefly. Isn't this been the largest transfer of wealth from poor to the rich since slavery in this home?
Amen, amen. There's no question about that. And that's where I criticize the Obama administration because there was never that collective community effort to show the pain that came out of this foreclosure.
Right.
There was a lot of myths that said, just get your loan on, just do
Right.
this, you do that.
Right.
And the banks were behind the foul play even in that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So, but when the dust is settled, what do we have after that? Well, what we find out that the thing that helps or could help our community or any community for that regard is government insured loans.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your FHAs, your VA, your USDA loans, as well as reverse mortgages. Okay.
Now, can I ask him a question?
Sure.
I thought that when we did that, based on what I learned in the 70s, that we did have that insurance because when I first started banking, they stressed about the FD.
FHA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was automatically, you know.
Well, here's the problem. We need to have financial education in general.
Right.
Okay.
I
Okay.
totally agree with that.
Now, what's happening is that, unfortunately, the people so-called representing us, many of the attorneys, the judges, and things, were uneducated about
Teach.
what the rights were.
Teach.
Okay, and it wasn't until late in the game, and 2/3 of our people have been put out to
Right.
pasture,
Right.
did they start figuring out? Oh, wait a minute. Now, you got a threshold in servicing these loans that you have to do before you can even foreclose.
Right.
Okay, so there was a lot of foreclosure that was happening, and here, this is one of the toughest federal court systems of the 12 federal court systems, okay, in the 11th Circuit.
Okay.
Favorable rulings started coming out about banks failing to service under the required standards of the FHA.
Okay.
Now, one of the things is that they cannot foreclose without having a face-to-face meeting. So
okay.
tell me, how many of you guys know people who had FHA loans that were foreclosed on and were never offered a face-to-face meeting?
Right here. You got two on this
Okay,
board right here.
okay. So that's what I'm saying. So these things kind of got under the table. There's another issue, statute of limitation.
Right.
Okay? We didn't know what our rights were under the contract about what's the statute of limitation to re-raise these issues, et cetera.
Right.
Okay? So what I found out through my long journey, because I had to study like everybody else.
Right.
I had to devote myself to it and everything else. Maybe I was more on the march to do it.
Right. More
Okay?
determined.
More determined
Yeah.
to do it. But the issue is that the government insured mortgages are still the safest mortgages that are out there. Now, reverse mortgage. Then we slide into that. Reverse mortgage was an opportunity to take our elders
Right.
who are 62 years and older,
Right.
get them qualified under the program, and save them from foreclosure.
Now let's find for our community, because I've been seeing advertisement on the
commercials.
TV about reverse mortgages.
Right.
And of course, I know Mary Gill, which is a very prominent radio talk show hostess. She comes on weekends from 10 to 1, and she talks against
Okay.
reverse mortgages. So explain to us how they backing that thing up or how they reversing it.
Okay. good point. Well, the term reverse means you got to reverse your thinking.
Elevate your mind.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because of what is called, now that if you talk about reverse mortgage, then what is the opposite of reverse? Forward.
Exactly.
So all these other mortgages are called forward mortgages, which
Right.
means that from day one you get the mortgage, then you start making payments.
Exactly.
Immediately.
Right.
Yes, sir.
When you get your reverse mortgage, you suspend payment.
Right.
Ah.
Okay?
Go
Now,
again.
guess what? Nope. The bank cannot foreclose on you until what?
You
after
expire.
death. That's right.
Exactly.
So isn't that one of the best blessings you can give your parents, that they can live out their lives
Right.
Yes.
until they
In
pass away?
safety
Exactly.
and with
Right.
a roof over their head.
Right. And I keep telling everybody that reverse mortgage is the ideal thing for what? Estate planning.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, why? Because now you can determine, or the elder can determine, who is going to be the heir.
Exactly.
Okay?
Who's best qualified
Right.
to
Right.
handle this business?
Now, the reverse mortgage mandates at least 1 year, in some cases up to 2 years, that the heirs can determine either they're going to sell the property,
Okay.
or either they're going to refinance it, okay, or let it go.
Okay.
But let me ask you something. If someone has a regular mortgage today and someone passed, aren't those the same issue on the table?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Okay? So one suspends the payment and they can stay there regardless of making no payments.
Right.
And the other ones, they're saying, hey, 90 days,
You
haven't
outta
paid,
here.
you out of here, and we're coming to get it.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
So I'd rather play those odds
Right.
with the reverse
Right.
than the other.
Exactly.
Okay, this is on common sense. So whoever that talk show host is, we need to talk.
we can set that up.
Now, okay, now, secondly, there's a way, the beauty about the reverse mortgage is that, okay, someone say, well, the interest is going to accrue. Well, that's true.
Right.
But, there's things in finance that if you know the games of finance, you know how to play the game,
Right.
okay? And one of the things is that reverse mortgage does not require you, here's a legal word, require you to make payment. What if you got smart and say, well, I'm going to send in a payment?
Right.
What happens?
You depreciate. You began to take down the interest amounts
Thank you.
that's accruing.
That's right. You either suspend the interest
Right.
from accruing,
Right.
or you actually go towards the early payoff.
Exactly.
And there are financial models that show that.
Right.
Okay? But if we're just thinking about it suspends the payment and that's it,
Right.
we have not used the tool
Exactly.
to the full
Properly.
extent that we
You're
could.
saying
me-
the reverse mortgage suspends the payment,
Right.
correct? And
That's
if you-
right.
And if you
But the
continue to
sta-
make payments, it would go towards the interest.
It would satisfy the debt.
Okay.
Okay, it's like a deferred payment. Okay.
Okay.
So you said, it's like these creditors all the time said, no, zero interest until 2016.
Yeah, that's a room to go. They running the thing now.
Right,
till
right.
You can get stuff and you ain't got to pay
right.
till 2017.
What, are you gonna wait till 2007, or you start paying now?
Right.
It'd be best you
See
start
what I'm
paying
saying?
now.
Now,
help get the
what?
cost of interest
That's right. So by the time that 2016 around, hey, what is left over is minuscule.
Exactly.
And so you
Right,
have
right.
defeated the
Right.
whole purpose of accrued interest.
Right.
Not only that, and this is your program, 770-559-2999. If you don't agree with reverse mortgages, call in. We want to hear what you got to say, and we treat you with respect and to give you time to make your point. See, and it also there's a psychological thing where the pressure of the mortgage
Thank you.
it creates such an emotional trauma for those of us that's poor. You understand that? But when you can fashion your own finances based on your income, you can still pay, but you're in control of it rather than that slip that comes every month being in control. So that in and of itself allows
takes-
you
right.
peace of mind
Right.
and the ability to fashion your payments based on your resources.
Now let me let you in another secret. Do you know who are jumping onto reverse mortgages?
White folk.
That's right. And Congress. You know why? Everybody wants a parachute.
Right.
Everybody wants to have the asset, okay, to bequeath it on or pass it on,
Right, right.
okay, and enjoy that home.
Right.
They even come out with what's called reverse mortgage purchase. Well, what is that? Well, if you can put a substantial enough money down on a house, let's say I live in New York and I want to move to Georgia or
Right.
Florida, okay, and I cash out there and I got $200,000-300,000, but I come to Georgia and buy something for $160.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Mm.
Now I put more than 50% down, right? Okay, and it's reverse mortgage purchase, right?
Right.
Put the down payment down. I'm eligible, right? I'm in the age, right? Suspend payment thereafter.
So why is it, other than the financial brains behind the financial slavery that we in, have they not promoted this? Is this the reason?
Have they not? Okay, this, again, we're transferring ownership to them.
Right.
We're not using our intelligentsia to figure it out.
Exactly.
Okay?
Which tell me, like I heard Minister Farrakhan say back in the 80s, that even when our lawyers and doctors get educated, their education still have a ceiling.
Yes. Right.
And if you don't have what they call intelligent and common sense mind
Right.
to go beyond that ceiling,
Right.
just because he cut it off,
Don't
don't
mean-
mean you have to.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm a prime example of that. I always went above and beyond.
Right.
When somebody say, okay, you can't go past that, the hell you say.
Right.
Now what I'm gonna do with the help of the creator
Right.
is sit down and figure out,
Exactly.
I'm coming out of this box. You ain't gonna never keep me in no box.
Exactly.
See what I'm saying? So I think most of our professional brothers out there have so many tangle with lawyers
Yes, sir.
and doctors
Yes.
that have threatened me
Yes, sir.
because I want to accept this crap they feeding me.
Right.
Well, we can't go past this. This the way it is. You know,
Right.
it's over with. It's done. The hell you say.
Right.
The creator say ain't nothing never over with. Long as you breathing and got breath and another day come.
Well, it's a mindset, and that mind, and what we have to realize that we're dealing with a system, and the people that involved with that system, their purpose is to keep us subjugated.
Right.
So each part of the system is they're good old boy networking. They're paying themselves off through our ignorance, and as we begin to extricate ourselves from the process of their subjugation, they, of course, which is why they haven't given us this information, don't want us to be educated to where we feel that this is the only way that we can pay our mortgages and deal with the houses that we're in.
There's example. We consider mortgages all to be forward mortgages, but they came out with a product under the Reagan administration called reverse mortgage.
Right.
Okay.
Okay? So it's been around. Now, the problem was that the insurance company used to be the offers of those products, and they did run over people. So there was a bad legacy coming from the insurance people.
Okay.
Okay? So what happened, the federal government stepped in, and now they have what is called federally insured reverse mortgages.
Now, let me ask you, when you said the insurance company ran over people, define what that actually meant and what was happening under the auspices of the reverse mortgage and how people were being bulldozed.
Well, the insurance industry is another financial industry.
They're wealthiest in this country.
Right. And they always deal with the mortality table,
Okay.
okay, when a person's gonna die.
Right.
So they target in on this group of people, 60 years and or older. And you know life expectancy is gonna be what? 10 years, 20 years?
Yes,
if that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay? So they knew that if they do these reverse mortgages, okay, that their payout day will be right around the corner.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay? Now, life expectancy for someone in their 30s, you know, is a much longer time.
Right.
frame.
Exactly.
Okay?
That's right.
And when I used to teach classes to people about mortgage, I used to say, you know what? The minute they put you in a 30 mortgage, they knew right off the bat
That's right.
that too many things can happen in 30 years and that
Exactly.
you would not live to the end of it.
Exactly.
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 It's funny you said that 'cause my aunt, she had a 20-year mortgage.
Right.
And she had to refinance about a month or so ago. So when she went to refinance, they turned her 20-year mortgage into a 30-year mortgage.
Of course.
Well,
Which
see,
she
now,
objected to and tried to fight, but this is how it has to be.
no.
And so, yeah.
One of the things that yours truly have done, I've gone back into the financial services arena where I came from.
Right.
It was because when I saw the foreclosure activity happening, my clients came to me and said, what do I do? I said, let me start doing research.
Right.
And that research left on one to the other.
Right.
Now I see the market is changing.
Right.
And I think I can do a better job preventatively,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
Now, to show people what they need to be doing. Case in point, the situation you bring up.
Okay.
One of the things I would do, I would analyze, where are you at right now? Why are you going back through a 30-year mortgage?
Exactly.
For what
Right.
reason?
That's what I didn't
Okay?
understand that.
All right? And you look at the tools. You have reverse mortgage available and all like that. One of the key thing about reverse mortgage, there are no major banks involved in them.
Oh,
No.
see, that's why they're not good. That's why.
They all got out of them. So the last one was MetLife, but all the major banks are out of them. So you have second-tier players that are in it, but they're still getting government insured behind it. Okay.
Okay.
But so that's a good thing because who have all the bad names of doing all the abuses? The big banks.
Big
The
bank.
big banks.
Okay.
They got bailed out, didn't
Right,
they?
there you go. There you
Along
go.
with everybody
So, so the thing is it's really an education,
Exactly.
and in many cases, you know, the reverse mortgage may have been the ideal situation for them.
Right.
Okay. But the issue is if they have to go back to a 30 years because there's a change in finance. Okay. Reverse mortgage was built on the fact that the elders would have limited finance. They would be on a
Right.
fixed income.
Exactly.
Like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's more tailored to that, okay? And this is where all the financial understanding comes about, and where all the opportunities are when you don't know, okay? So what I'm saying is that the premise that I started off is that we need to have more financial education. We need to do more workshops to talk about these products. And I became astute in reverse mortgage because I litigated against them.
Exactly.
Okay? I litigated against them and saved several people their houses in reverse mortgage. One particular lender here, a client that we consulted with up in Ohio, the father passed away. The young man was about 25 years old. He was the heir. They were going for a foreclosure.
Right.
They said, hold up, wait a minute. You didn't give me my notice. I had an opportunity to refinance
Right.
and buy this out at 95% of market value. The market value is not there anymore. Then they backed up. He put a notice into the court. I need to talk to the lender so we can negotiate this. Court granted it. Go ahead and make your discussion.
Yes.
He paid for a $400 appraisal, came back. Yes, property values had dropped. They came back and offered him $12,000 to buy the house back. Okay? And he had $6 in his pocket.
Right.
I said, well, if the rest of your family, I mean, it should be a shoe-in now for you and the rest of the family to raise the rest of it. And the house is free and clear.
Wow.
An heir.
That's
Okay?
right.
An
Exactly.
heir at 25 years old.
Exactly.
Picking up a property for
Right.
$12,000.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. And again, 770-559-2999. We know this has happened to many of you, and we want to educate you. And that's the question I want to ask you. Where would be the best places, because many of us are working 1, 2, 3 jobs. You know, we get home, you're dead tired, you ain't got time, you know. Where do you see the best place to educate our people? Because many of us are in church now. We hear that mama and them going to church.
Right.
But the preacher too busy begging for money for himself. 65 mil, G15 or whatever it is.
G650.
You understand? So where do you see the best place to begin this education of our people?
That's a problem. But I would say that traditionally it has been the religious institution, okay, churches, mosques, whatever, and the barbershop.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
So that's where there should be the
Right.
frank talk.
Right.
Okay.
And information.
And what I'm saying is that at some point in time, we have to get smart enough and ask our community, churches, religious organizations, and everything, to have these discussions and know who to bring in.
That's
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So that's, you know, if we don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what prayer is all about,
Right.
right? You're
Exactly.
always asking, right? You're
Exactly.
pleading, okay?
That's
And then you see the result.
Right.
So we have to ask and demand. If we don't, you know, because you talk about this one reverend who preached about prosperity. Obviously, he got his. But there was a whole bunch of others in his community that did not get theirs, okay?
Exactly.
So we need to ask these questions just like we're asking at this table. What should we do? What should we know? And is there a better way?
But don't you think it would be a much better idea for the churches, which are these community leaders, to be proactive in getting these type of learning institutions going into church? Because I know when people are losing their homes and their cars and everything else, they're going to their preacher and letting them know that this is the situation.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem I have. Okay, I've done a lot of legal research, but I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, but I've taught lawyers.
Right.
And I get lawyers that call me out of state to
right.
have me for information.
So that means you better than the lawyer.
Okay.
Bingo.
Well,
Right.
it's that and
teachers
everybody
always-
asks me anything, I say, well, I'm a paralegal.
Right.
Paralegal means somebody who does the science of it. Okay.
Exactly.
Now the issue is that the banks, even here in Georgia,
Right.
were giving our reverends money
yeah.
Bingo.
to talk about loan mods and
That's
everything
right.
else.
Right.
And that blew up in a lot of face,
Exactly.
in a lot of people's face, because they found out the reverends got teed off because they weren't getting the money they were promised. Okay.
Right.
So what has to happen is that you're probably going to have a panel of people to come in, and it may have to be an interfaith workshop
Right.
on
Okay.
finance or something
Okay.
like that. Get the Muslims in, get the Jewish people in, get the Christians in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Because the finance is affecting all of us.
Right.
Okay.
Then you just said about the transfer of
Well,
wealth.
we got a couple.
Right.
Let's see if we can take this call. 770-559-2999. Caller, what is your name, question, or comment? Caller? Turn him up. Well, I don't hear him in the studio. There you go. Send him to air. Caller, speak to us.
Brother Gideon.
Speak to us, caller.
Brother Gideon.
Yes.
Yes,
Turn him
this
up.
is
Turn him
Lowdown
up.
Barbarian, leader of wise, dedicated original world Nubians, the black activist revolutionary breaking America's racial injustice and neglect.
Come on with it.
One thing that we must know and understand is that we are compelled to pay America back for the transgression that it committed against our own people. They walked on us, they continue to walk on us, and they continually use us to benefit America's purpose. We must now understand that we must give up their materialism. We must give up their spiritualistic threats to our people and allow spirit to bring us through. Give them back everything that they've given to us. Let them have back everything that they've done for us and allow the Creator to see us through spiritually. They want us through reverse mortgages and all these such things to buy into the lie of America. America has always lied to our people and used our people for their sadistic benefit. And we know one thing, if we know nothing else, that if we use the pineal gland that God gave us to enlighten spirit, spirit upon spirit, heart upon heart, all my strong black brothers unified made it a part of the talk.
Yes, sir.
Listen, let me say one thing.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
We're talking about mortgages. Mortgages is a reality because so many people have them.
Right.
So you got to do something about it. Okay.
Right.
But for the young people coming up now,
Hold on, caller. We got you. Hold on. Listen to his response and turn him up a little bit, Black. Okay, go ahead.
for the young people coming on, we need to talk about pooling money together,
Right.
buying auction property or
Right.
foreclosed property,
Exactly.
and developing new
I'm here.
construction. Okay, and then that creates a whole nother wealth for us
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
outside of the traditional financial system.
Right.
Well, now let me just say, do you hear the lamentation of our people? Because we're at a point, and I talked about the extermination of us, specifically men, because they want the women. That's what he's saying. And what you just identified is that we need to find new ways of channeling our resources, the ones that we have, because we're not just, unless an atomic bomb hit, which that may be in the future as well,
Yeah,
we're
messing with
still
Russia.
caught up in the system. So
That's
my
correct.
brother's trying to say, rather than allowing the banking system to control us through that mortgage, then through the reverse technique, we can begin to use our resources where we can redirect them into a way to help our family. And I think he's still on with us. Is he still on?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead.
What I wanted to expound on, along with the spirit, like when realist was here last week.
Yes, sir.
I was talking about the two natures and the two forces in us.
Yes, sir.
You got the spirit and you got the physical.
Exactly.
So if we could take that spirit he talking about and match it with the physical that he talking about,
Exactly.
and then direct that where we all come in one accord.
That's right.
Regardless of what our persuasion or stripe is, that we see one, like Marcus Garvey say, one aim and one destiny.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, and stop buying this in white man crap.
That's right.
I mean,
which is what he's
brother,
saying.
do you see the damn malls every weekend?
Yes, sir.
Now,
They're packed.
why is it that we got to pack the mall every weekend? Brother, I might buy some new stuff once a year.
Yes, right.
You see this suit I got on?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how old this suit is?
Yes, sir. It's
Custom
quality.
made,
Yes,
15 years old, bro.
There you go.
All
Yes,
I do is put it back in plastic when I get out of it.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying to you? We waste a lot of money, man.
Yes, sir. Just let the young man speak. We coming back to you, my brother.
One thing I want to touch on that I heard him say was expanding our consciousness
Hold
and our
on.
spirituality when he touched on the pineal gland.
Yes, sir.
That's a whole nother conversation right there because
Yes.
you know you got to talk to people and get them to understand that we do have
Have
the
a
pineal
pineal
gland and
gland.
how it connects us
Exactly.
to the Creator and how we can use it to our own benefit.
Exactly.
And then once you get them to that understanding, then we can go to talking about getting our own and being self-sufficient.
Right.
You know what I mean? But waking them up, that's a whole other story.
Now, let me come back to you, my brother. Go ahead. I mean, you've heard our response. Give us your concluding response.
It's a whole nother game.
Caller, is he still with us?
I'm still here.
All right.
Okay.
Respond.
Listen, on this mortgage thing, reverse mortgage, I'd like to get that young man's information if I could.
Sure.
We are lucky to still be in our home. We were caught up in that scandal stuff when we first purchased our home, but we recently retired. And my wife was watching the show, and we want to know more about that and how that would work.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a different caller. And make sure you call us 770-559-2999. Go ahead, Brother Lateef.
Okay,
Give him your information.
let me make sure you have my office number, which is 678-287-0087.
Again.
678-287-0087. Okay, you can leave me a voicemail message today on that line. I'll pick it up and make sure you talked about me being on the show, and we'll get with you. Okay, but it's Lateef Kareem. Okay, so but yeah, I would love to talk about this. We talked about having these workshops. We need to have more workshops.
Absolutely.
Okay? And I will make myself available
Yes.
to do these workshops. Okay.
Be enlightened.
Okay. So I'll make myself available because I'm coming not only from a legal mindset, but a financial mindset. Okay. And a people's mindset.
Right.
I want to see our
See, that is the element that we're missing.
Right.
Because many of the people who have the knowledge that you have have been bought out and sold themselves to the system's philosophy rather than nation building.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what the Black Barbarian, I believe. We got another call. Excellent. That's what he was alluding to. 770-559-2999. Caller, what is your name, question, or comment? Caller?
Well, it's me again, like Brother Sundown was saying. Marcus Garvey said, one God, one aim, one destiny. The only way that we'll truly escape this horror is an exodus. We must return from whence we came. We didn't come from here, so one way, someday, we will have the opportunity, unless we created for ourselves the opportunity, to break these borders, to go back from whence we came. All our people are here now. They're being pacified. They're being motivated with evil. They're being subjected to all horrific criminalities on this planet here in America. They call it the United States of America. Those that are elevated within my state know that this is the United Snakes of America. And if they know one thing, nothing else, they know that they represent Lucifer and Satan. They'll walk with Lucifer and Satan, and they will do whatever it takes to see us not in elevation. And when I say elevation, I don't mean a physical elevation like you about to fly. I mean your brain. your heart, your soul, what consists of you inside, not on the outside, because the outside don't matter. This shell gonna leave here one day, brother, and you gonna stand in front of the face of the Creator, and he'll ask you, what did you attempt to do to help save your people? If you don't attempt to save your people, you might as well go get a gun and blow your own brains out right now.
Yes, sir. Woo! Brother, you said, and it's 770-559-2999. Let me just say this to you, my beloved brother. I feel your passion, your pain, your crying out of it is, in fact, okay, we got 2 calls? Oh, okay, that really, we've been going. All right.
Good information. Good.
One thing about this system, it's worldwide. It is a global, that's why they said, George Bush told you it was a one world order. And no matter where you go, this system is entrenched. It's a part of the financing. That's why they're going to a new global monetary fund. Go ahead. Come on in here, boss.
I want to comment to the brother because I want to go back to the biblical times.
Yes, sir.
When Moses actually did the Exodus.
Yes.
There were people calling out that knew they were in an unjust system at that time.
Exactly.
But in preparation, one of my dear brothers who's Hebrewite said, you know, the children of Israel, when they left, they left with wealth with them. They didn't leave pennies. They didn't leave pennies. You know what I'm saying?
That's how they built the golden calf.
Exactly.
So what I'm saying to you is that we need to have a strategy that even if you're talking about
an exit strategy.
There you go. Even if you're talking about exits or different places you want to be and have dual citizenship and all like that, we need to look at that not just on an emotional, I got to go, but from a standpoint, how do we prepare ourselves to lead?
Teach.
Okay? Because there's a lot of people trying to come this way because they're coming this way to take advantage of the economic
the perceived economic.
Well, there's some people. There are people gaining from it. So what I'm saying is that let's don't just just pack up and go without planning.
Exactly.
And I think that we can accomplish and see the financial education that I'm talking about will prepare us no matter where you go. You're preparing yourself to transition and to have wealth there as well as continue to accumulate wealth and trade and other things.
And what they say about knowledge, you can take it anywhere you go.
Exactly.
Knowledge is the basis and the key to survival.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Absolutely right on the nail.
Go ahead.
I think the biggest problem I see with what he was saying as far as going back to our homeland and doing that stuff is basically what we were talking about earlier, people who have grown content with the situation that they're in. And they're like, I'm not leaving America. America's, man, you know how much economic wealth and power we have here? Man, you go back there. I'd have people tell me, you go back to Africa if you want to and be over there with them people. They don't like us over there in Africa anyway.
Exactly.
So, there's a whole mindset that you're going to be in opposition against, with the whole, going back to a homeland thing, and which I totally agree. I said before that, this is not the place of my people.
Exactly.
And I would love to go back and be able to die in the place of my people,
Absolutely.
in my homeland, if you will.
Sir.
But even in that mindset, in my personal mindset, I know on a broader scale, that would be pretty difficult, given the materialism that people have become
entrenched in. Absolutely.
And
Let me just say this. I was in Walmart yesterday, and I know we're about to conclude, and there were 2 brothers in line, and the Most High had me in position to hear this brother. One of the brothers was saying that he felt that the killing of our brethren was justified. Unarmed.
This is a black man?
It was a woolly-haired melanated. Now, whether he was black, his mindset definitely went. And the brother he was talking to said, "You say what?"
Right.
He said, "Man, don't say nothing else to me, because I'm getting ready to file on you right His old lady had to start saying, "You need to go outside," because he was spewing that. But what it did was show you there is a mindset among our people that is so degenerate that whatever the white man puts out, they believe and want to incorporate. He literally said they deserve. Now these men were unarmed, weren't doing anything, and he said they deserve death. So This is the mindset of what we've got out there among our. Come here,
To
young
your
man.
point, with the Mike Brown situation,
Yes.
I was having a discussion with, it was a group of black people, and one brother was like, man, if he didn't want to get shot, he shouldn't have stole them cigarillos.
See?
So I'm like,
He didn't even have any
so
that day.
death is a proper punishment for
Yeah.
stealing two $5 packs of cigarillos? I'm like, are you serious?
Exactly.
And it's that type of mentality that I don't know how we're going to overcome that.
Yes.
But it must be overcome.
Well,
Briefly, before we go out,
let
we're on
me,
the way out.
Let me add one point.
Yes, sir.
Before we go. One of the shame in all of this is that the Obama administration and Eric Holder
Yes.
has been on their watch.
Right.
Yes.
That's
and
right.
they have not done anything
To address
level
exactly.
the playing field,
That's right.
showing that there's two standards
That's right.
in justice.
Right.
One for white,
Right.
and,
That's
other,
right.
and one for
Right.
black.
That's right.
Okay?
Correct.
So that dialogue has to happen.
Yes.
We're still laboring under ex-slave laws.
Exactly.
That is in the consciousness of our people.
Yes.
Right.
Dred Scott, etc.
Right.
Exactly.
That no
3/5
matter what,
of a human
the
being.
three-fifths
Right.
of a man, and all like that.
Yeah.
Until we get that understood,
Yes.
that the court system is outdated, the laws are
Exactly.
outdated, that it needs to be equal protection,
Laws are
Yes.
you know, et cetera, et cetera. That until that happens, then we will continue to be shot down like
And
dogs.
Right.
Worse than. Let me just say this in conclusion. Elevate your mind. The Black Barbarian said it. You've heard it on this panel. It is time for us to recognize that this system has relegated us to less than human acceptance. We've never been accepted in this country. It is only what your understanding of your God is, then that's what you must deal with. But whatever it is, or even if you don't believe in a God, you should believe in justice, equality, and fair play in this unjust system of snakes, as my brother said. But at the end of the day, if we don't come together as a people to fight the power, Brother Jingler and Krumah and the Hizzy Fosheezy and Brother Black and all the brothers that, my brothers, what's my brother's name that's running the board?
Brother Turu.
Brother Turu, to Comcast, to all right-thinking people, may Yah protect you and keep you. May the power of our ancestors look over you, and the strength of truth, unity, and righteousness ultimately will prevail. We thank you for being with us. We hope to be back. Well, if it's the 5th week of every month, we won't be. It'll be a tape program based on, I guess we've been too fire up in here. They had to take away a week from it. However, we're going to do what we can do when we can do it. You know? So at the end of the day, I want to say assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings, love, truth, unity, and the power of the Most High be with you all. Do we have any other concluding comments?
I just want to shout out to Brother Anthony Muhammad.
Brother Anthony Muhammad!
And Sharif Muhammad and
Yes.
Mosque 15.
And with the congregations all, may you be blessed. The believers all, may you be blessed. The unbelievers all, may you be blessed. But you killers, guess what? What goes around comes around. If you live by the gun, you gonna die by the gun.
There you go.
You understand? And that's exactly what happened to the police in Ferguson. They were standing out there and they got capped.
Yep.
And that if they recognize that if you kill ours,
Exactly.
you gonna get killed.
Well, that's what the minister said.
Yes, sir.
In their Savior's Day address.
That's right.
That this thing gonna drive. You know how the forces work.
Yes, sir.
You send out stuff.
It's gonna
yeah.
come back
Right.
to
It's
you.
gonna boomerang.
So if they keep
Boomerang,
doing
yeah.
that, it's gonna come back around,
That's
brother.
right. Absolutely.
Because there's guns everywhere now. Just like you talking about the cameras.
That's
There's
it.
guns everywhere.
Yeah. We out.
We out.
Peace.
Peace.
Yeah.
All right.
Good show.
When the last time you heard from your brother?